Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova.
Shabbat Shalom. Shana Tova.
Where is everybody? Okay. So, do you think if I go to Emerald City with you to OZ, OZ would give me some brains? I cannot tell, but you may come with me if you like. If Oz will not give you any brains, you will be no worse off than you are now. In the popular children's story, The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy, a young girl who's living in a barren world that is drained of all color, and I've been to Kansas, so I know what that world is like. Sorry, no offense to people from Kansas. Gets knocked unconscious by a loose window in a twister and has a powerful healing dream in which she is carried far away from her home in Kansas by a powerful tornado. Throughout the dream, she longs to return home, but before she can find her way back, she must journey to the land of Oz. Dorothy's journey to Oz, accompanied by her 3 companions, the Cowardly Lion, the Scarecrow, and the Tin Man, and of course Toto, can't forget Toto. It becomes a legendary quest for wholeness and healing, in which the 4 travelers seek to acquire the character trait each of them most needs in order to be whole. The Tin Man seeks a heart, the Scarecrow, and the Cowardly Lion. Though she is not conscious of it as she sets out on her journey, Dorothy needs to find her own inner source of power. Whether Frank Baum, the author of the Oz legend, realized it or not, the Hebrew word Oz means strength, as in Ozi v'zimrat Yah, that my strength in the song of Yah. Maybe we should start calling this community Oz, because it's where we go to find our inner strength. Dorothy's journey to Oz is an attempt to reclaim her power. And it's only when she faces her deepest fears and takes back the power she's been projecting onto powerful others like the Wizard of Oz and the Wicked Witch of the West that Dorothy's able to reclaim her own inner strength and find her way home. And as Dorothy and her companions courageously overcome the many obstacles in their path, they discover that in fact they already have within them the very power or trait that they thought they lacked. Our journey to Oz, or OZ, to inner strength, healing, and wholeness begins tonight and ends in the 10 days at the end of Ne'ilah on Yom Kippur, or we might say actually continues all the way through to Shmini Atzeret, Simchas Torah, and even into the year. But this beginning of the year, like Dorothy in her desolate black and white world of Kansas, at the end of a year, we seek renewal because the color in our lives has been drained out by petrified habits of thought and action. We long for a more meaningful life in a seemingly barren world. The clouds of doubt and confusion are blocking the sun as the slow, quiet summer comes to an end. That's when a tornado comes. The cool autumn winds of change swirling around us this month gives us an elbow to the ribs, jarring us from summer daydreams. We set our alarm clocks early. Big yellow buses appear as parents rush their children to school. College students crossing the street, jumping in front of our cars. Bikes whizzing by, congested commutes awaiting. We grow hopeful and hungry. Visions of professional and personal glory dancing in our heads. We form committees. We wear khakis. We get going, getting going. All of a sudden, everything switches back on again, pulling us up into a whirlwind. It carries us up and out of our black and white world into a swirling chaos, like the tohu vavohu, the chaos shmeas before creation. And just then, a rainbow appears. The shofar blasts us awake. The sweet apple and honey gives us a taste of hope for renewal. Hope that a sweeter, more meaningful, and more colorful life lies ahead somewhere over the rainbow. A song written by a nice Jewish man, by the way. Like Dorothy, when we first begin to awaken, we realize just how far from home or our true selves we really are. We long to return, but we don't know the way back. We begin our journey by following the spiritual path of the machzor, which means in Hebrew, cycling or spiraling. Like the yellow brick road unwinding before us, we're off to see the wizard whom nobody can actually see, or directly anyway, with faith that she will help us find our way back home. On the way, we'll meet up with fellow seekers, and we'll help each other find our way together. We stand together on these days before God as a single spiritual unit, ba'agudat achat. We do this out of a very deep instinct. Just stand at the doors tomorrow morning and try to stop people from coming into our services, and you'll see the great force of this instinct. It always blows my mind that people come back again and again like fish swimming back upstream, pressing us together in a large room as a single spiritual unit. We need each other now to give us hope and to acknowledge who we really are. But eventually, like Dorothy and her companions, we come to realize that the strength we seek outside of ourselves already exists within us. We only need to turn inward to discover our courage, our heart, and our wisdom. By focusing our kavanah, our spiritual intention, on longing to return, I'm clicking my heels, there's no place like home, we find our way home. I was going to wear some ruby slippers, but I decided not to today. In the Jewish teachings, the pathway home to our true nature is called tshuva. Though typically translated as repentance, tshuva actually comes from the Hebrew word shav or lashuv, to return. The implication is that we all have within us an unmovable, unshakable reference point of wholeness to which we can return. A spiritual essence encoded within our souls that enables us to remember who we really are. Tshuva is not something one does once and for all. Rather, it's a lifelong journey of spiritual homecoming that we practice every day. Our Midrash teaches that before God created this universe of variety and multiplicity, God first created tshuva as a healing force embedded in all of creation that draws all those multiplicity, all those things back to their source in infinite oneness. It's through doing tshuva, spiritual homecoming, that we come to remember ourselves or remember ourselves as part of the great unity from which all life emerged. So like Dorothy, we must keep our goals in mind as we travel on our path. And like her companions, we must acknowledge our shortcomings so that we can improve upon them. And by the end of Yom Kippur, we may realize that to achieve our goals, we've always had the tools we needed to accomplish them. "So, what have you learned, Dorothy?" asked the Tin Woodsman. "Well, I think that it wasn't enough just want to see Uncle Henry and Auntie Em. And it's that if I ever go looking for my heart's desire again, I won't look any further than my own backyard. Because if it isn't there, I never really lost it to begin with." After Yom Kippur, we'll gather under the full moon in our sukkah, right there in our very own backyard, to celebrate our return. "Oh, but anyway, Toto, we're home, and this is my room, and you're all here, and I'm not going to leave here ever again, because I love you all, and oh, Auntie Em, there's no place like home." Welcome to our journey through the land of Oz, the land of Az, and Lishana Tova Umituka. When we get through this twister and return home, may we feel transformed with a new sense of strength, oz, and purpose, ready to make a year filled with more goodness and even more sweetness. Shabbat Shalom, good Yantif, and a good Yor. Thank you, Rabbi Jessica. Page 19. Amen. בחייכון וביום איכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגאלה ובזמן קריב ואילו אמן יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עומר היה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה דקודשה בריחו הלילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואילו אמן תתקבל צלותון ואותון דכל בית ישראל קדם עבורון דיבי שמעיה דיבי שמעיה דיבי שמעיה ואילו אמן יהי שלמה רבה מן שמעיה וחיים עלינו, 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 ועכו ישראל ועכו יושבי תבל. ואמרו, אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. Love that one. You too, Yeshua.